What's the number one thing I want buffed about Spidey in the next balance patch? Everything. Buff everything. Buff his damage, buff his movement speed, buff his health, buff his cooldowns, buff, make him one-shot everything. Make him have no cooldowns, and make him get his ult after one hit. And make his ult kill everything.
Alright, our favorite webhead, Spider-Man. Let's be real honest, he's in a bit of a bad position right now in the current meta and just in general. He struggles to kill. He doesn't feel consistent, and it's quite telling to me. For me, at least, I think it's quite telling that the number one Spider-Man in the world, Necros, says that his best combo is swinging into spawn, switching to Psylocke, and melting your enemies that way.
Come to New York sometime. I'll do whatever a spider can.
So let's just play around and say, how can we buff him? How can we buff him that in a way that doesn't make him
Watch out, they're headed our way.
overpowered, but in a way that makes him worth playing. In a way that makes him worth playing over Psylocke or over Panther. Because right now, there's not really any reason to play him instead of Panther. There's no reason to play him instead of Psylocke. They just, both of them do what he does, but better. The first one is pretty obvious to most people. I think I've seen a lot of people suggest this, but is webs. Instead of having it on a cooldown that regenerates each 4 seconds, just have it be a reload. The damage, they don't do damage. They don't really do that much damage. It's really not that much damage, and when you're at range, if you're at far enough range, they really don't do much damage. At this range, which I think is about probably 50 meters,
Watch out, they're headed our way.
it takes 16 to kill a squishy. These web shots aren't used for damage, they are used to enable damage. In that it gives you a big damage boost on your next hit.
I don't want to hit you more than I have to.
Double KO!
And I think doing that it still makes it so that you have to be accurate, and you need to pick your opportunities right to go in for the kill. So it just makes him more consistent. Right? It makes him more consistent because the webs become more reliable. Because right now they're not reliable. That's change number one. The second change I would make, separating the cooldowns of this version
Now I gotcha.
of the move, of his get over here, and this move. Having them be considered separate cooldowns, separate moves that have separate cooldowns, because they are quite different. And the game settings even consider them to be different moves. If I go Spider-Man, there's binds for the regular version, and then there's binds for the targeting version. So the settings consider it a different version, two different versions and two different moves. I feel like the cooldowns should also be considered two separate versions, and it will also let them be more consistent, because this is quite easy to whiff.
Watch out, they're headed our way.
If you try and pull an enemy into your team's side, it's very easy to miss. If you try and yank an enemy off the map, you have to have really good aim, so that's also pretty easy to miss. This is used for a lot of things, so having this version taken away from you just because you're using this version, which you're going to be using this version a lot. It's your number one move you're going to be using as Spider-Man. It just means that you rarely get to actually use this version of the ability, which is a shame, because it's really fun to use. It's really hard to hit, but really rewarding when you do it right. Not to mention, it lets him do stuff like this. We've got a 250 health
Watch
opponent.
out, they're headed our way.
These bots are exactly 250 health. If we say that we have both of them separate cooldowns, still 8 seconds each, and let's say they're both off of cooldown, we can do this.
Jeez, that must have hurt.
That combo is a one-shot, only barely, to a 250 health opponent. Come to Luna.
Crack the whip. Fight
You
for the
need
good guys
one
next
extra
time.
hit. Right? That doesn't one-shot.
Crack the whip.
Double KO.
That's not gonna one-shot your 275s. It's only barely gonna one-shot your 250s. And it does it quickly. Not to mention, like I said at the beginning, we're trying to, with these buffs and with these changes, we're trying to differentiate Spider-Man from Panther and Psylocke. We're trying to give people a reason to pick him over Psylocke and Panther.
I am king of my people, god of our gods.
Panther's combos do damage, but while he's doing his damage, he's very fast. He doesn't do the damage fast, but he himself does it with a lot of movement, a lot of speed.
Fast, spear.
Right? He's very hard to catch.
Form fast.
He's predictable, but hard to catch. Psylocke can go invisible and then just kill you before you even tell. A good Psylocke will kill you before you can even notice.
Where's the time
So,
where we all just go down to the
we can't-
bodega for a sandwich?
We can't make Spider-Man kill too fast, because then he's stepping on the toes of Psylocke. And we can't make him move that much around the
Watch
enemy.
out, they're headed our way.
Otherwise, he's too much like Panther, if he's just moving around the enemy while doing damage. So, Panther's pretty predictable, but he's very fast. Psylocke is also predictable, because she sort of stands directly in front of you, or she doesn't really have much movement while she's actually trying to kill the enemy. The most movement she has is her dash, which a lot of times save. You're gonna save at least one dash for either finishing off the enemy if the enemy's on a very low health, or getting away. So why don't we make Spider-Man unpredictable? And I feel like giving him two different cooldowns on the two different versions makes him unpredictable. Because all of a sudden, there's so many mix-ups I can do. I can mix up my combo so many different ways just by the different combinations of the two versions.
Pretty sure those are
I
bad
can do
guys.
this.
Now I gotcha. Woohoo! No webs needed.
I can do
Double
that,
KO.
like I showed before. I can do
Now I gotcha.
That's
that.
3.
And even then, you can still do be a little bit like Panther, where you sort of move around the enemies super fast. Like for instance, I can do
Crack the whip. Fight for the good guys next time.
you get a little bit of movement like Panther, but Panther still keeps his appeal of being, the tickle monster that just constantly dashes through you without you being able to catch him. Right? Panther's the uncatchable dive character. Psylocke's the insta-killed dive character. Spider-Man, I think he should be the unpredictable
Pretty
dive
sure
character.
those are bad guys.
The dive character that that can just has options. A dive character that can just at any given time in the right hand just do a whole different combo and mix up his plane of attack. You'll still have your go-to combo, your bread and butter combo, which would be probably something like
Jeez, that must have hurt.
you'll still be using that more often than not, or something like
Now I gotcha.
something like that. You'll still be
And
using combos
stay
like
down.
those more often than not, but you'll have options to mix it up. You'll have options to make you unpredictable. Not to mention, it gives you more uses of this, more availability of this version of the move. So you can do things like
Now I gotcha.
pull enemies off the map
Pretty
without
sure
having
those are
to
bad guys.
worry about that, taking up a use of your your homing in version. And it doesn't make the combo itself, the combo where you go uppercut into the web into that, isn't necessarily overpowered in that you're not going to have it all the time. Because like I said, you're going to be using this for utility, for pulling tanks off the map, for pulling tanks to your allies to burst them down. It's going to have many other uses. Cancelling Strange Portal, cancelling ults. You're going to have other uses for it, so it's not going to always be in your arsenal, ready to one-shot the enemy. Not to mention, there's already a one-shot in the game. There still is a one-shot in the game currently.
The symbiote Spider-Man returns!
Which is a one-shot that's a lot easier to do than... It's a lot easier to do, and you use less moves. So I feel like if that can be in a game, even if it is a team-up ability, and it's on a 30-second cooldown, the symbiote move...
I hate this part!
Why can't he have a one-shot combo that isn't always going to be available to him, so it's a little bit situational, but it's still ready to use whether or not he has Venom, because it will just make him less reliant on Venom. Because right now, ask any Spider-Man player, Spider-Man it feels a lot of times like you need Venom to make Spider-Man work, and even then, if you don't have good coordination with the Venom, you're not doing anything. You're not going to be able to do anything. So I feel like these
Pretty
buffs,
sure those are bad guys.
these buffs, changes, whatever you want to call them, make him more consistent, give him a little bit more kill power, just a little bit more, lets him get that extra, 10% damage that he needs to be able to finish off the kills, and also lets him stand on his own 2 feet without needing Venom. It also allows him to have more player expression, which I feel like a character this hardest character in the game, he should have skill expression. I should be able to, he should be a character that
Stay down, will ya?
that plays slightly differently from player to player. He should be a character that that gives you expression. Not just because he's a difficult character, but because it's also in line with the character. Who's more expressive than Spider-Man? I don't know. To me, it just makes sense. These buffs
sure those are bad guys.
feel like they round his kit out perfectly. They feel like it just feels so good. I've been going in training mode for probably about an hour now, just messing around, assuming that I have 2 separate cooldowns
I hate this
on
part.
that and that.
Spider Sling.
Assuming that those are both 2 separate cooldowns, and it feels great. I don't feel like I'm too overpowered. I don't feel like I'm just getting free kills. I feel like I'm putting work in, and I feel like I'm getting enough out of it to where I'm satisfied. And I feel like if Spider-Man did play like this in the actual game, I would easily pick him over Panther. I would easily pick him over Psylocke. But right now, I don't feel like there's much of a reason to pick him over Panther. And I'm playing more Panther than Spider-Man right now. Even though I would consider myself a Spider-Man main. I haven't been playing him recently at all because he's just not worth it. So I don't know. Let me know what you think.
Sure
I'm interested to see what other people think. I've seen a vast array of different suggestions for the character. Some of which I think people are going a bit overboard with. I don't think he needs that much change. I feel like he just needs a small, and I mean small buff. Something that you probably can't even call a buff, more so a tune-up. Just a little bit of work, just to make him well-rounded, more well-rounded. Make his kit feel, because it just feels like he's missing just a small little bit right now in its kit. And the Venom team-up,
Spider-Man returns.
Venom team-up feels like it kind of fills that hole, but to me it feels more like a band-aid rather than an actual fill for the hole. But I don't know. Let me know what you think. I'm interested to see what people think in the comments.
Watch out, they're headed our way.
I mean, I know this is something that not everyone will agree on. I do feel like this is 2 really good suggestions. I feel like will just make him feel so much better to play. But let me know what you think. That's it for me.